believe we have trained more than 80,000 doctors around the world in my 40 years of decades of career in education. We've been exposed all over the world, but it's high time that we had to bring it to India because India is still the most populous country with the most amount of doctors and most amount of people. And India itself is a genetic drug capital of the world. So it's high time that India should be the biotech and the stem cell center of the world to a certain extent, also in the field of immunology and regenerative medicine. I believe there's a lot of things we can do in India in a big way. We will bring the best of European therapies right into India. And that also may include what we have done in China, in Japan, in USA, all the 4 decades of experience with clinical experience and research experience.
So how would Indians approach you, or how would Indians benefit from this kind of medical approach?
Now, health costs is one of the biggest problems in India. It's the same with all the authorities of the world. Okay, huge expenses are spent there. Imagine if you can cut a huge amount of the health costs. Just imagine in the case of kidney diseases. If we can delay the progression of the kidney diseases, if we can delay that, we can regenerate the kidney by giving the kidney stem cells to do the regeneration, then probably the patient do not need to go for dialysis. You will cut down the cost of dialysis at the same time. Again, those dialysis patients waiting for implantation of the kidney, some of them would never have the time. They would have died even before the implantation, and there's a scare of organs here. So imagine if we can regenerate and give the cells of the organs and not do the transplantation of the organ. This is what I believe the present should be. This is the future of medicine and the present of medicine. In other words, you may not need a kidney transplant. Just repair the dying cells of the kidney. Regenerate the kidney. And we are talking about bioregenerative medicine. So the word itself, regenerative, means you must regenerate, and all the 78 organs of the body can be regenerated to the next level. All the organs can be treated as long as they're living tissues right in the organs.
So few words about your expertise in this field, please.
Now, as an author and co-author of 50 over books, and I've been in this field spending more than half of my life in Germany and Switzerland and trained by the Soviets and exposed to the US all the time, and also with the Japanese and the Chinese. I learned from everyone. I learned from the thousands and thousands of gurus and doctors. I believe the word should be integrative bioregenerative medicine. When we talk about integrative, that means we include still the conventional medicine of what is practiced by all the MDs of the world, but it's high time to look into the rest of the other modalities of treatments, and integrative medicine or integrative biological regenerative medicine should be considered also the mainstream of new medicine.
So what are the neurodevelopment therapies which are developed recently?
Now, we all know the brain has 67 different types of brain cells and 52 lobes. So every part of the lobes of the brain or the cycle or parts or portion of the brain have different function. Imagine with 67 different types of stem cells in your brain, they all have different function. And we also know that the brain starts to age at a very young age. At 20, 66 of your brain cells are aging, while the frontal lobe is only fully developed by the age of 24. And imagine at the age of 40 onwards, you're losing 10,000 neurons a day. So you're losing memories. And the timeline for the brain is always 60 to 70 to 75 maximum. Your brain is shrinking. So in other words, the function of the brain will go down. Malfunction will set in. Dementia is very part of life in us as we age. So neurodegenerative is coming in. Degenerative, that means it's going down. So can we repair all the brain? Yes. In the case of Parkinson patients, what is lacking with the Parkinson patient? The dopamine production. So what you can do here is give the substantia nigra. Again, that guy is aging. He's 75, he's 85. He can't even walk firmly because he will turn wobbly. You probably need the hippocampus too. So all the 67 different types of brain cells, we can give that. What about Alzheimer's patient? As you age, like I say, you lose 10,000 neurons after 40. Sometimes you forgot your car key. Sometimes you forgot something, you keep repeating. Okay, repeating the statement all the time within the seconds and the minutes is already an indication that you're moving towards Alzheimer. So what is wrong with Alzheimer? You'll be 80 years old, you remember something 70 years ago because the hippocampus is there. But the problem with Alzheimer is they don't have short-term memory. You can tell the guy your name 10 times and he will forget it within the next 10 minutes. So in other words, what is lacking is the frontal lobe, the frontal cortex. You must give the frontal cortex. Again, in the case of neurodevelopmental disorder like autism, what is lacking with autistic child? They can be even a genius. We call them Suvarna. But the problem with autistic child is focus. They don't have the focusing. So if you don't have the focusing, you can't learn properly. You can have the best speech therapist for the child, but he don't focus. So the right way to treat the child will be look at the brain of the child, which function is lacking there. And of course, the frontal lobe is important. The frontal lobe is very, very important. Without the frontal lobe for autistic children or even for Down syndrome children, the IQ cannot be improved, or the focusing for autistic children cannot improve. So in other words, even for neurodevelopmental disorder like global delayed developmental, it's a development of the brain. So you find which part of the brain and give the right part. This is all easily can be done. It's non-invasive. It's high time to bring this education to India, and it's high time to tell the world, or even in India, that there are 400 over different types of stem cells therapy, stem cells, and also with the peptides. That means with 400 over different types of cells, you can give the 400 over different types. You don't just concentrate on giving the mesenchymal cells to do the stimulation along the membrane of the cells. You need the homing. To do the homing, you need regeneration. Regeneration needs the homing. Regeneration means you must reach the nucleus of the cells. And in other words, all the 400 different types of cells have their own amino acid sequences, they have their own proteins and their own molecules. There's never one type of cells which will treat all kinds of diseases. I have to state that. You will have to give the mesenchymal cells to do the stimulation, but you still have to give the targeted organ-specific cells, or the targeted brain-specific cell for brain disorder. Let's talk about cardiomyocyte for the heart. You can give the mesenchymal cells to do a stimulation of the heart, but you need the repair of the heart. You need to go to the nucleus. You need to give the stem cells out of the cardiomyocyte. Again, in the kidney disorder, CKD is a big problem. You must give the renal cells or the renal peptides. And the renal peptides are very affordable. It can be affordable to all the mid-average income people of the world. The main thing of coming to India, apart from giving the best technology of the world, apart from giving education, awareness to the public and also to the doctors, the next part is to make this the drug or the pharma or the biological regenerative center of the world. That means you can regenerate them, you can produce them, you produce them in India with the German and Swiss and the European therapy at the branding of the European, but still at the quality of the European, but with the price of a lower price, because labor cost in India is much cheaper. Since India is already the generic drug capital of the world, it's high time to make India also the stem cells capital of the world. Make it affordable. Stem cells shouldn't be just for the rich. It should be for everyone. And it is our hope and our social CSR that we must treat every neurodevelopmental child, and we shouldn't be making money from treating all these child. We must treat with the heart. And for this reason, the foundation of lesser children of a greater cause is coming into the world. We must bring them to India. We have treated thousands and thousands of autistic children all over the world. Everything is developmental, can be treated. That means to say the untreatable, considered by the conventional world, including autoimmune disease like RA or psoriasis, or even cancer is autoimmune, even diabetes type 1 is autoimmune. They are solution. In this case, it's not just with the stem cells. The stem cells will repair the organs destroyed by the autoimmune problem, but the stem cell will not solve the autoimmune flare-up in the patient. To solve the autoimmune problem in the patient, we wrote this book. This is on the book on immunotherapy. This is on cancer therapy, and this is what the Germans has been doing it. The Swiss has been doing it for the last 300 over years. There are thousands of publications in this. They come in Russians, they come in Germans. It's high time to open up to the world. The best thing to treat the cancer patient, the most important thing to treat a cancer patient is what is the problem with cancer patients? It's the overreactive of the immune system. So you have to reboot the autoimmune system. So you must create a vaccine from your tumor blood or from your own body, from your blood, take the Buffy code, which is the DNA of the immune system, and reboot it. That is the way. And we have 10 publications on this to the world. There are 52 over other publications on this. We call it autologous active specific immunotherapy. We've been doing it on all the cancer patients. At the same time, super boost your immune system, because your immune system produced with the T cells by the thymus gland is gone after 65. So you must supplement with super boosting the immune system with the thymus therapy, which the Germans are #1 in this world, and we are the world's largest manufacturer of thymus, peptides, and cells. We can do this right in India, act at a fraction of the cost. This is important. Now, what is wrong with COVID? Why is everyone dying? Why is the older patient dying with the COVID? It's because they have a lesser strong immune system. So we have to super boost the immune system. There's only two reasons you die. If I go to India, I walk around the pharmacy, the hospital, I'm so shocked to find there's people lying even on the floor. So it's high time to make it affordable, and they do not have to be so sick, they do not have to frequent the hospital all the time. So awareness of education to the public is important, and at the same time, awareness to the doctors. There are more patients than doctors at this moment. So it's high time that the patient themselves has to be a doctor themselves to a certain extent. Give the education to them. Education to the people, to the doctors should be free, and this is what we are trying to do here at the same time for India. So the next thing, what do India have to gain or lose here? India had nothing to lose here. But India had everything to gain in terms of immunology and cancer therapy and all the other heart disease, kidney disease, or all the other diseases. And the cutting in cost is important. At the same time, knowledge base to the doctors. At the same time, the biotech. At the same time, India itself, the rich are getting out of India to go to Dubai, to go to Europe, to go to USA for cancer treatment or other treatments. It's high time to make them spend the money in India itself and let the money stay in India and not out of the country. Keep them here by giving what you have the best in the world right back into India. But at the same time, do understand, if India can be the capital, drug capital, or the genetic drug capital of the world, and the stem cell center of the world, India can be also the manufacturer of the world, export it out of India at a much cheaper cost than what we have done in Germany or in Switzerland, and that will be affordable to the world. So that will bring the next economy to India. You cut down the cost on the health cost, you bring education, and people more educated means they'll be less sicker. And at the same time, it's no point to extend long life when all the aging patients are having diseases and the government have to put them. At a certain time, some government will say it's better to let them die because they're having lingering dead disease coming in. Okay, so our job is to increase the health span of them, extend the health span. So quality life have to come in here. They must be less dependent of drugs to a certain extent if we can. Okay, they should live longer, but they should live longer with healthier lifestyle. So education is important and healthier health span extension. So the right way is longevity of lifespan depends on health span, but it all depends on cell span. So stem cells is important, the right type of stem cells. You have 400 over different types of stem cells. Don't just do one type of stem cell and expect an A to treat A to Z. It must be an A to A or A6 to A6, B10 to B10, and Z7 to Z7. That is the right way. That is what we call precision in treating patients and medicine. Precision in bioregenerative medicine. Thank you.
ఈ గ్రూప్ ని ఇండియాకి ఎలా మీరు ఏం ఆలోచించారు లైక్ అసలు ఎందుకు తీసుకొద్దాం అనుకున్నారు ఈ గ్రూప్ ని ఇండియాకి?
ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ ఫర్ ద ప్రెస్. రెండోది ఏంటంటే ఆన్సరింగ్ యువర్ క్వశ్చన్, ఫస్ట్ లెట్ మీ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ మై సెల్ఫ్. ఐఎమ్ ప్రొఫెసర్ డాక్టర్ రవితేజ్ అల్లం, senior scientist and director of research and development, and the CEO of this European Wellness Biomedical Group, Bharat. Answering your question, ఎందుకు తీసుకొద్దాం అనుకున్నాము అంటే, first of all, two reasons. Number one, I'm somewhere, as a scientist, I'm somewhere not so much convinced ఒక మేనేజ్మెంట్ అనేది ఒక ప్రాబ్లమ్ స్టేట్మెంట్కి ఆన్సర్ కాదు అనేది నా firm belief. Wherein and personally also ఒక భయం లేకుండా బతకాలి అనేది every person's motive. And as a scientist, how I think is problem statement ki solution కావాలి కానీ management కాదు. And while I'm addressing different diseases back in my time in New Zealand or London, we are creating the problem and we are trying to get the solution from outside. But later on, after I have met my professor and my mentor, Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike Changaru, and I understood that I learned a lot actually. And when I acquainted with the deeper facts or the details of the technology, I understood that he is thinking in the right direction, wherein you can reverse, you can find the solution from within the body. ఇంకా సింపుల్గా చెప్పాలి అంటే, ఒక యానిమల్, ఒక గేదె లేకపోతే ఆవు, ఈవెన్ మన మనుషులైనా సరే, దిస్ ఈస్ నాట్ సంథింగ్ న్యూ. ఒకవేళ గేదె ఈంటే the very first thing that it will do is eat its own placenta. And while it eats its own placenta, ఏ ప్రాసెస్లో అయితే తన శరీరం మొత్తం డిస్ట్రాయ్ అయిపోయిందో, అండ్ ఇట్ విల్ కమ్ బ్యాక్. ఈవెన్ మన పూర్వీకులు కూడా దే యూస్ టు ఎన్ష్యూర్ దట్ దే మేక్ పీపుల్ ఈట్ కార్డ్ అండ్ ఆల్. సో కానీ ఇప్పుడున్న టెక్నాలజీకి వీ హ్యావ్ టు గో డీపర్ అండ్ ఎన్ష్యూర్ దట్ వీ కెన్ go back to our roots as to how to bring this technology, and that it requires too much infrastructure, too much brain, too much experience as to how we handle. Previously in a lecture lo cheppindi kuda enti ante, the question is not does it work, or the question is all about how does it work, how do we make it work. And దానికి కావాల్సిన బ్రెయిన్స్, ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్, the true intellectual property is as scientists and doctors who understood the technology from the on the back of our hand, and that it requires significant and substantial amount of years spent on it, especially by mentor, and having his gurus has transferred it to him, and as my guru he transferred it to me. So simple.
Just I have some questions from Andhra Pradesh to Mike and to your team. Okay. Because I am interested, because this entire media is from, most of them are Telugu people, and either Andhra Pradesh or Telangana. So I put some questions to you in Telugu. Let him tell you in English. Okay? మీరు ఇక్కడ మా రాష్ట్రంలో కిడ్నీ సమస్యలు ఉన్నాయి, మా రాష్ట్రంలో లివర్ సమస్యలు ఉన్నాయి, మా రాష్ట్రంలో హార్ట్ సమస్యలు ఉన్నాయి. సో దీనికి మీ దగ్గర ఏదైనా పరిష్కారం ఉందా? ఉంటే అది ఏంటి? I can tell you. We have problems of kidney, and we have problems of heart diseases and liver diseases, etc. And most of them are poor. They are all poor people living in villages suffering with kidney diseases because of the water problem or whatever it is. So we want a solution. And my leader, Mr. Pawan Kalyan, took that issue to the national level and international level, and trying to do something to help the people who are suffering with the kidney problem. Do you have a solution? If so, what is it?
Now, I love to treat kidney patients because I dedicated it to my father-in-law who died at 72, and my own father died of complication with kidney and liver disease because he's a chronic diabetic patient. There is a solution for all these organs. Kidney is a big problem because the kidney start to age at 50 to 55, the lifespan of the kidney. So we are talking about living longer, but what's the point if you're suffering? So what is the problem with the kidney? You're born with fixed kidney cells. There's no regeneration there to most of the conventional doctors. But on our side, as long as you have the dying tissue cells, we can regenerate them, and we have to give them the kidney peptides. It is a fraction of the stem cells.
డాక్టర్ మైక్ గారు మామగారు అలాగే తండ్రి కూడా కిడ్నీ డిసీజ్తో బాధపడి చనిపోయారట. మనకు పుట్టిన ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి కూడా కిడ్నీలు 55 సంవత్సరాలకు ఉండేటట్టుగా ఒక ఫిక్స్డ్ కిడ్నీ, దాని లైఫ్ 55 సంవత్సరాలు ఉంటుంది. అటువంటి కిడ్నీస్ని ఆ టిష్యూస్ డీజనరేట్ అయినప్పుడు వాటిని రీజనరేట్ చేయడానికి మార్గం ఉంది, అది మేము చేస్తున్నాము, అది చాలా సింపుల్గా చేయొచ్చు అని చెప్తున్నారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఈ ట్రీట్మెంట్ అనేది ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది అంటే, ఆన్ వన్ వర్డ్ అండి, ఆర్గన్ స్పెసిఫిక్ సెల్స్. సో బయోరిజనరేటివ్ మెడిసిన్, ఒకవేళ మనం కిడ్నీ డిసీజ్ పేషెంట్ని ట్రీట్ చేయాలి అంటే, ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ మనం ఒక బోన్ మ్యారోలోంచి సెల్స్ తీసేసి దాన్ని కల్చర్ చేసి పెట్టేయడం, దట్స్ నాట్ ది ఓన్లీ వే. మనం వీ హ్యావ్ టు ఒక సెల్ నుంచి ఆర్గన్ ఫార్మేషన్ లోని ఎంటైర్ ప్రాసెస్ ఎండ్ టు ఎండ్ డీకోడ్ చేసి దాన్ని అడ్రస్ చేస్తే తప్ప హెల్తీగా ఉండటానికి కానీ మనం హెల్ప్ చేయలేం. సో ఇట్స్ నాట్ లైక్ ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ, వెదర్ ఇట్ వర్క్స్ అనే దానికంటే హౌ టు మేక్ ఇట్ వర్క్ అనేది మన ప్రశ్న. ఒక కిడ్నీ ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చిన వాళ్ళకి మనం కిడ్నీ సెల్సే ఇవ్వాలి. అండ్ కిడ్నీ ప్రాబ్లంలో కూడా దేర్ ఆర్ సెవెరల్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ అదర్ ఇంటర్స్టిషియల్ టిష్యూ రిలేటెడ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్, tubular cells, kidney cells, and ఒకవేళ డయాబెటీస్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి islets of pancreatic cells and liver cells. Disease specific and organ specific. ఎక్కడ ప్రాబ్లం ఉందో అక్కడే ఇవ్వాలి, అవే ఇవ్వాలి. అప్పుడే ఈ ట్రీట్మెంట్ వర్క్ చేస్తుంది. అండ్ దానికి మనకి కావాల్సింది పీపుల్ హూ ఆర్ సబ్జెక్ట్ మ్యాటర్ ఎక్స్పర్ట్స్ ఇన్ ద టెక్నాలజీ. ఒక 30-40 years or 20 years దాని మీద వర్క్ చేశాం కాబట్టి we can confidently say that this technology is now available not only to the advanced countries but మన దేశానికి కూడా.